If you don't know already, I recently went to Hong Kong, and you know what that means? MTR tier list time. I'll only be ranking the ones I've been on, so sorry, High Speed Rail Line, Chung Line, and Disneyland Resort Line, you won't make the tier list. Starting us off, we have the Tsuen Wan line, the first MTR line ever to be built, if you exclude the East Rail line, of course. This line runs from Tsuen Wan all the way to Central Station. The line mainly uses M stock trains, which are the oldest train in MTR's fleet, and I honestly don't mind them. They're surprisingly cold for an old train. In fact, too cold. The AC is way too cold. I was basically freezing inside there. The line is also very crowded. So for that, I'll give the Tsuen Wan line B tier. And next up, we have the Kwun Tong line running from Whampoa all the way to Lang. This line mainly uses slightly newer but not that new C stock trains, and I really don't have much to say about this. I guess the trains are good, the line is pretty useful for getting to the city center. So overall, I'll give it A tier. And now we have the Island Line, the line that runs from Kennedy Town all the way to Chai Wan. This line mainly sits on Hong Kong Island and does not even touch Kowloon, not once. This line is the core line of Hong Kong Island, so yeah, during rush hours it can get quite crowded, but a train usually comes every 2 to 3 minutes, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. This line mainly uses M stock trains, but now they're transitioning into the Q stock trains, the newest trains in the MTR fleet. So, what do I give this? Maybe S. That's our first S tier. And now, right here, we have the East Rail Line. This line runs from Lowu or Lok Ma Chau, aka the Shenzhen border, down to the city center all the way to Admiralty Station. The East Rail Line uses R stock trains which have first class for some reason, which is weird if you ask me because it's a commuter train. Let me just say that this line, similar to the Island Line, also has an overcrowding problem, but there's absolutely zero saving grace here, not even the frequencies. The train comes every 6 to 10 minutes. Now, I don't think that's enough for such a line that's really crowded, both peak hours and non peak hours. And considering that it serves the Shenzhen Hong Kong border, yeah, the frequencies need to be increased. So for now, sorry East Rail Line, but you're getting B tier. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you decide to merge two subway lines? Well, this is what you get, the Tuen Ma line. And it's not exactly bad, it's good actually. So this line used to be two lines, the West Rail line and the Ma On Shan line, before they got merged in, I recall, 2022 or 2023. The line uses modified C stock trains that look like bullet trains for some reason. And if you didn't get that train, well, don't worry, the SP1900 is also a comfortable train. The Tuen Ma line now runs from Wu Kai Sha all the way to Tuen Ma. Wow, that's a long stretch. And so that makes it the longest line in the entire MTR network. It's not too crowded, but with a train coming every 3 minutes, you got a recipe for an A tier line. And right here, we have the only MTR line that actually splits off into a branch, the Tsuen Wan line, running from North Point, where you can interchange with the Island line, all the way to Hang Hao or Lohas Park. Although do note that the Lohas Park branch is a bit infrequent with trains coming only every 10 minutes. Tsuen Wan line mainly uses old trains such as the M stock and the K stock. My first impressions of this line were actually great. The trains aren't too crowded and the frequencies are great, apart from the Lohas Park branch that I mentioned. And you know what? I'm gonna give this line an A tier. Now, this might come as a surprise, but I am including the Airport Express line. At first, it may seem unfair comparing an Airport Express train to your regular subway metro lines, but at the end of the day, it is an MTR line. The MTR's Airport Express line is one of the most comfortable Airport Express trains I have ever been on. The seats, they're soft, very comfortable, and in a backward and frontward facing layout. There's also tons of space for stuff like luggage and anything else you might have brought with you. The line runs from Hong Kong Station all the way to Asia World Expo Station, stopping at Kowloon, Singyi Village, and Airport. It uses the same train as the ones on the Tung line, the A stock, with obvious modifications in the interior. And this is one of the best MTR lines I've been on, apart from the Island line. So, S tier. In the MTR, you got tons and tons and tons of good lines. Except for this guy, which is very notorious for overcrowding. Yes, welcome to the South Island line, whose overcrowding problem is much worse than the Israel line. And that's due to a major trip generator in a nearby station. And if you haven't guessed it yet, yes, it is Ocean Park. And the fact that they only use 4-car trains in this line does not make the problem any better. My second hotel in Hong Kong was in Ocean Park, and boy, I had to take the line a dozen times. It was an absolute nightmare. It's almost the same level of nightmare fuel as to taking the KRL commuter line during rush hour. I would straight up throw this line a D tier, but there's a line that's much worse, so bear with me. C tier for now. I'm sure many of you don't know this, but Hong Kong actually has an LRT, or as they call it, light rail. Hong Kong's LRT is actually what inspired Manchester Metrolink, because Manchester Metrolink, that opened 4 years after Hong Kong's LRT was built. But Hong Kong's LRT is much more of a nightmare to take because, again, it's overcrowding problem. That's because the LRT lines, yes, there are multiple lines, operate around the Tsuen Wan line, which doesn't have any other rapid transit line other than the Tuen Ma line, of course. And this causes the Tuen Ma residents to heavily rely on the LRT. And at that point, it doesn't even matter which line you'll take. 615, crowded. 615P, crowded. 614, crowded. First generation train, crowded. Second, third, fourth, and fifth, all crowded. And yeah, this line definitely does deserve the bottom, the rock bottom D tier. So I'm very sorry, LRT, but to fix the problem, maybe they can run more double units or maybe even triple units on some of the busier lines. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video and be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Whether you want it about Bowie, public transport, aviation, or football, whatever it is, I got you covered. Until then, Ken out.